Oh, we've got a big gap in the temperature. Tyler, 52, 65 in Longview.
On Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live.
In the wake of Alabama's resounding 42-14 BCS National Championship victory, their third in 4 years.
Today on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live.
Lacey bolts middle, still going, end zone, and Eddie Lacy scores the first touchdown of the night. Second down now. And timeout by McCarron. And he's upset with Barrett Jones. Wow. Boy, that is highly unusual. I thought for a moment he might have been teasing, but McCarron fires end zone, touchdown, Bama, Amari Cooper.
Saban does. He 8 years as a college coach and 4 national championships.
On 99.3 Talk FM, it's Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live. Here's Bryan Houston.
5 o'clock happy hour. Although I'm kind of sad, college football season's over. It's just a really good thing that the Cowboys continue to give us a steady diet of stuff to talk about. No matter whether they're playing or not, there's always some kind of drama coming out of Valley Ranch.
Oh, you got that right, Bryan.
And so the best part about that is right now we can go to the APEC VIP hotline, cutting-edge training for the serious athlete, apecgo.com. When the players hit the field, you can see the results. With us right now from 1310 The Ticket in Dallas, our good friend Donovan Lewis. Happy New Year, Donovan.
Same to you, man. How are you?
Doing very well. I've missed you, man.
Yeah, I missed you too. 2 weeks, man. That's just too long.
Well, maybe not for you, but...
Oh, man, reunited and it feels so good.
Peaches and herb, baby.
There
all
you
right.
go.
There you go. Hey, all right, get us caught up. First of all, since we last talked, the Cowboys took the gas like we all kind of, expected they would, even though we hoped it would be different. So,
right.
And since then, we've gotten Jerry Jones threatening to make things uncomfortable, and I guess that means he fires the running back coach, and that makes everybody uncomfortable. How uncomfortable are you right now about Skip Pete being fired?
No, it doesn't make me uncomfortable at all. It's the guy's been there for 6 years, and the running game has been okay. You know what? He didn't have his best running back, and he was running behind a horrible offensive line for entire year. So to make him kind of a scapegoat and to make things uncomfortable is a little crazy, I think, in Jerry's eyes. But I think everyone's kind of walking on pins and needles, seeing if it's done. And what more can he do if he's promising changes? If you're not going to bring someone in to be an offensive coordinator or get rid of your coach or defensive coordinator or anything like that, then nothing's changed. I don't think he can make things uncomfortable if the running backs coach or the linebackers coach or something get axed. The dude didn't have his horse for 6 or 7 weeks. What else is he supposed to do? Get out there and line up himself? That's just crazy.
Well, crazy's been used with Jerry a few times over the years, so yeah, that fits.
Right.
What are you making of some of this noise that's coming around that Jerry, has made himself kind of scarce around Valley Ranch, and he didn't exactly give a ringing endorsement to Rob Ryan before he left, and then there's this talk that maybe he's trying to, behind the scenes some way, talk Norv Turner into coming back as the offensive coordinator.
I just don't think that'll happen. I'm the only one on our show that thinks that, but I just think with the way these football guys are and the egos that you have to be successful in this business, you bring Norv Turner into Valley Ranch. What is that telling Jason Garrett? I just think Jason is Jerry's guy, and I think bringing in Norv Turner to be an offensive coordinator will absolutely undermine what's going on. And Jason, I believe, will feel threatened. So he has this guy who Jerry loves and this town loves. And all of a sudden, Garrett makes a mistake or 2 or 3. You don't think he's looking over his shoulder because Norv Turner's right there? I just don't think that's putting anyone in a position to succeed.
But it's making him uncomfortable.
Well, okay, if that's what he wants to do.
Apparently, that seems to be the answer now.
Everyone will be uncomfortable and everything will be fine. Everyone thinks I'm crazy to think this, but I just think there's no way that's going to be done. I believe Jerry, in his mind, thinks And this is a fact. They played in Week 17 for the NFC East title. They had an opportunity to go to the playoffs no matter how bad things were, injuries, bad offensive line, everything. It was horrible. They had an opportunity. I just feel, in Jerry's mind, he doesn't think that he's that far away from winning an NFC East title. To make things uncomfortable, okay, that's a word, but if he would have said, hey, they're going to be sweeping changes around here because we have a long way to go, then that's when I think everyone should walk around and see what's going on. I think he's just giving us a little lip service to keep everyone, okay, well, Jerry's going to do something, so I'm going to stick around and not leave this thing. That's all I think he's doing right now. If there are going to be any more changes at Valley Ranch, it's going to be another position coach, and it's going to be a player or two here that's not going to come back. And I think that's going to be it.
So you think Rob Ryan is safe right now?
I do. Because, I mean, and hey, I'm not a big fan of the guy. I'm not. But you can stand up and make a case for him not having a lot of his players to make this thing work this year, and the defense actually just not cratering. I mean, they were okay, but the hand that they were dealt, they should have folded a long time ago, and they didn't. So I do think he could stand up and say, look, dude, look who I was playing out there. I had Popenga and Ernie Sims and Cole and Sterling Moore.
Hey, those guys were great. Come on.
I had guys who were sitting around eating bonbons.
They were working at Walmart the week before.
Right. In week 6 or 7 of this season, they were sitting around, doing nothing, playing Madden. And now all of a sudden...
now they are Madden.
Right. Now you have to throw them on the field and try to make this thing work, and yet and still, the defense did just enough for the Cowboys to be one game away from winning this division. So I can absolutely see him standing there making that case. And Jerry, who are you going to bring in? You want to bring in Lovie Smith? Okay. Do I think he's a better defensive coordinator than Rob Ryan? Absolutely. But now all of a sudden, Garrett has one eye over his shoulder because there's a head coach right there. And anything that happens, any kind of mess up, then I think it's just the wheels are just going to fall off like it did with Wade Phillips. And you'll see that. And that helps no one around here.
All right. Now, the other thing that I can't do anymore, and I've been one of the biggest defenders of Tony Romo, but after the ball game against the Redskins, I can't argue with people anymore. I'm worn out. I'm exhausted. I just can't argue with people and say, look, he's still better than, 70% of the guys in the league. I can't argue it anymore. I mean, is it time? I realize that he's on the hook and it's salary cap implications and all that, but I'm sitting there looking at the playoffs this past Sunday with 3 rookies playing and starting on playoff teams.
Right.
Is it time to find that guy, keep Romo for one more year, and when his contract's done, let him go and just throw the rookie into the fire?
Well, good luck finding that guy.
Well,
it's not easy finding an RG3 or Andrew.
But Russell Wilson was a third rounder.
Sure, absolutely. But you know what? That's one of those things where I think you get lucky with that, because I don't even think Seattle thought at the beginning of the year that he was going to be the answer, because they went out there and spent all their money for Matt Flynn.
Yeah.
I absolutely understand all the frustration. I get it. I do. But, and I know people hate this argument, but this is just how it is. You wouldn't have been in that position to win a division in Week 17 without Romo.
Totally agree.
That's just absolutely how it is now. Him just absolutely laying an egg in the biggest game of the year, you're right. It doesn't help the argument. But the guy still is a really, really good quarterback playing behind a really, really bad offensive line.
Yes, he is. Absolutely.
He picked the absolute worst time to have his worst game of the year. Throw out that 5-pick game against Chicago. Throw out that other 4-pick game with all the stakes. That was absolutely his worst game of the year. And there's a show on NBC Sports called NFL Turning Point, where they have some of the game audio that you can hear, and they highlighted that Washington-Dallas game, and you can just absolutely tell that rope was just getting a little tighter and a little tighter around his neck on the sideline as he just talked about, okay, you know what, big game here, come on, let's go. Like, okay, Romo, we know it's a big game. How about you go out there and play like it's a big game? So I see both sides, and I know that's a cop-out, but I can see the frustration with people with Romo because when it matters the most, the last 3 times he's had an opportunity to win in the year end or lose and go home, he's failed. And you just don't know how many more times it's going to come around. You can't take playing for the division for granted. You really can't, because this is the NFL, and you could be good one year and you could be horrible the next, and it could take you forever to try to get back on top. But yet and still, you can't deny what that dude has done around here and the numbers he's put up. Maybe sometimes they're empty because they're losing by 3 touchdowns and he's had to sling it around. But yet and still, give me a better option, and I will tell you to bring him in. Let's do it.
I'm with you, man. I mean, listen, I love Tony Romo. I mean, for all of his flaws, I mean, I remember what it was like before Tony Romo, in between Aikman and Romo, that black hole that was there for so many years. So, I mean, Romo has at least kept this team interesting for the last 6-7 years, and you felt like you had a fighting chance. But it just, I don't know, man. There just seems to be, looking at him in that ball game and his body language, it looks like all the air has been sucked out of his body. And I think, I don't know if it wouldn't be better for him and for the team both, for them both to see him have a change of scenery, because it just looks like they've given up on him. He's just totally defeated right now. And I mean, it's going to take some major therapy to get him back ready to go this coming spring,
Boy, I halfway agree with you. It's not better for the team. It's not, because you have Kyle Orton behind there, and this is not an 8-18 with Kyle Orton.
Oh, I agree. He's horrible.
Yeah, you talk about drafting a player. Well, give me someone. It's so easy to say, well, you know what? You could just draft a rookie, throw him in there, and everything will be fine. You have to draft the right person.
Sure.
This year it's been lucky with Luck and RG3 and the other guy.
Yeah, it was
Russell Wilson. Yeah, boy, he just slipped my mind. But then you can go back just last year and you want to talk about Locker and Gabbard and Christian Ponder and how all those guys, well, Ponder took his team to the playoffs and he's horrible. But, you just never know what you're going to get if you're just going to say, you know what, let's get rid of this quarterback, draft one, and okay. You think you're not satisfied with 8-8? Well, wait till you get the wrong rookie in there and you go 4-12. How happy are you going to be with that? So, if you're talking about the now, and it's always like that with Cowboys fans, they want the best team right now. They don't want to have that dreaded R word. Jerry Jones, he doesn't want that dreaded R word. And if you don't want that, then you have to get the best players available right now. And right now, your best option at quarterback, as crazy as it sounds, it's Romo. It really is.
No, I agree. I mean, and I see if you're not going to, the thing about it is, what blows my mind about it is Jerry Jones is an oil guy. Oil guys take these wild, crazy risks. And, we've seen him do that, and it blow up in his face. We've seen him not take any risks at all, and that hasn't worked either. I'm just wondering if that wouldn't be the case with Romo now. You're just going to have to take a risk and try to see if you can't, strike gold. And find somebody that can play quarterback. I mean, somebody that's got a little something to him, because, like I said, I feel bad for Romo right now. I just feel like, good night, man. This guy is just so beaten down.
Right.
And you just don't know if it's Cowboy history. He reminds me of the demeanor that Don Meredith had when he walked away, and he reminds me of Danny White in the late days when everybody had just finally just given up on him.
Right.
And I'm just wondering if that's where we are now.
Yeah, and now let's trust this team to go out and draft the right quarterback for this team.
Well, let's not and just.
Okay.
You're right. Never mind. Forget it. Hey.
Options are so limited, man, and it's so easy to say he sucks and he's a choker and all that. And I get that. He absolutely has not played his best when they needed him the most. But they need him.
Boy.
They really do. And I know a lot of players are happy that Romo's on this team because now the spotlight is so bright on Romo that other players who probably didn't have a really good game, you don't even talk about them. Let's talk about the only penalty accepted for Dallas in that game. The only one cost them that game, I believe. Because for some strange reason, and I might be a homer, you can call me that, it wouldn't offend me a bit. But for some strange reason, I thought that the Redskins would kick a field goal They're up 6. Romo would get the ball with 2:20 left and no timeouts and drive them down to get a winning touchdown, and they win by 1.
It was setting up that way.
It was setting up, but that one penalty, roughing the passer, hit him in the head, boom, game over. And then you look at DeMarcus Ware, who had a horrible game. Your best player on offense and your best player on defense had awful games against Washington. But we don't talk about DeMarcus Ware because the spotlight is so bright on Romo. But that's why you get the money. That's why you get the girls. You're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
Speaking of girls, man, how about A.J. McCarron's girlfriend, huh? let's talk about something pleasant for a while.
Hey, if that's Miss Alabama, then I need to find Miss Alabama number 2 and 3 or 4 or something like that. I might be okay.
Musburger liked her.
I think it was more than like, and it was. I felt like Musburger either A, needed a trench coat on, or
he may have had one on, I think,
or had a pocket full of candy trying to lure the little girl over to his evilness. You know, it just sounded so horrible. I was creeped out, just like everyone else.
I need to shower after that.
I know. Hey, here's this Tootsie Roll Pop, sugar. Come here, let me talk to you.
Come here, honey.
Oh, God, that's gross. So gross.
Wow. What do you guys? Have you guys talked much about the way RG3 was handled this past weekend?
Yeah, we did, and everyone's kind of ripping Shanahan because it looks like he ripped his knee up a little bit. But I thought that Shanahan did the right thing starting him because look, he limped his way over a victory against Dallas. So who says he couldn't do it again? But I thought on the play right before the second touchdown, when he's on his back, he takes his helmet off, and he could barely get back to the huddle. That's when you got to take him out. That's when you have to and say, you know what, we really, really want to advance in these playoffs, but this dude is the future. He is. And you know what? He got through 2.5 more quarters limping, but he was okay, and it took that almost that last final play for him to have disaster happen. So his knee doesn't buckle, then everybody's okay because he got through the game just like he got through it against Dallas. That's a really delicate situation, especially when the athlete is there telling you, I'm good. Hey, look what I did last week against Dallas. I was fine, and, we won the game, so let's try to do this thing again, and it's so close, and it's right there. So it's a double-edged sword. You can't win for losing if you're Shanahan, so he tried to get in there and tried to win that ball game.
Based on what you see playoff-wise right now, who do you think is in the Super Bowl right now?
Boy, I think it's going to be tough going into Denver and beating them in the AFC, but 1 versus 1 just hardly ever happens. Something's going to happen, and I just don't know what. Everyone wants to say Seattle's going to beat Atlanta, but I think Atlanta's going to get Seattle this week. Do you? Yeah, I think for some reason they are absolutely going to find their way over that hump. But if you put a gun to my head and say I'm a betting man and I had to make a bet, give me San Francisco and Houston.
Wow. Okay,
because
I'll go with you.
Houston's going to go down there and get New England.
You think so?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you what. They got to do something besides kick field goals then.
No, for sure. And they're going to need Matt Schaub to step up and make a play. They're not going to be able to count on Foster and that defense to do everything. They're going to need their quarterback to go out there and do something for them to win the game. Not just try not to make a mistake, because that's all he's doing. He's going to have to go out there and make a play. If he does that, then I think they have a good chance to win that ball game. All
right, man. Hey, listen, we'll talk to you next week, and we'll see where we are after that, and then we can pick a whole new set of teams to go to the Super Bowl.
Right. So when San Francisco and Houston lose big, then I can pick someone else.
Absolutely. That's how it works here, man. We just redraw.
You know it.
Hey, man, it's great talking to you, Donovan. Thanks again, and Happy New Year to you, man.
Hey, you too, and all your listeners.
All right, good deal. Donovan Lewis from 1310 The Ticket on Bryan Houston Sports Radio Live.